Chapter 8. Threshold. The passage narrowed. Not like the vault above. This was no corridor built for travel. Each step shrank the world around them. Walls pressed close, ceiling angled inward. Berik lowered his shoulders as he walked, eyes forward, knife reversed in hand. Stone scraped his cloak when he moved too far left. The air was dry, warmer than it should have been. Not wind warmth. Something else. Something within. No light marked their way. Only the faint pulse of glyph lines, thin, like veins beneath skin. They didn't glow. They beat. Each a soft flicker, spaced at irregular intervals. Amber. Then nothing. Then again, farther down. Rina walked ahead. Her body moved like the glyphs guided it. Each pulse met with a subtle answering rhythm from her skin. Her arms trailed close to the wall, not touching. Each flicker responded stronger when she passed. Not acknowledgement. Recognition. Berik stepped closer, low voice cutting the silence. This layout. Not like the vault. No, she said. Her voice had weight again. Not the sterile logic of the map. The other voice. Hers. He waited. Then, quieter. It's echo form. That's why the design shifted. Berik's brow twitched. He didn't stop. That a vault variant? No, she said. Not a variant. A step away. He gave her half a glance, then returned his eyes to the dark. Explain. Rina slowed, her hand raised, not to stop him, just to gesture. Echoform tethering is theoretical. Most vault systems use fixed thread designs, rune nodes, pulse relays, command locks. They transmit one direction: control, storage, defense. Berik said nothing. Rina's voice shifted, lips tight. Echoform is different, bidirectional. It responds, it remembers, it learns through contact. Tether patterns rewrite themselves based on the shape of what touches them. Self-adaptive? She nodded once. Alive might be the wrong word, but close. Berik scanned the walls again. The glyph pulses weren't uniform. Each glimmered at a different speed. Some flashed twice. Others held a long throb before fading. No symmetry, just rhythm. Like breath. Or thought. Ahead, the tunnel bent inward again. Sharp. Tight. Rina dipped low and passed first. Berik followed, shoulder scraping. The heat grew sharper. Not humid. Dry. Dense. Beneath the stone, something vibrated. A low hum, not felt in the air, but in the rib cage. His broken side buzzed with each footfall. They cleared the bend and stepped into a wider recess. Not a full chamber. Just a half-sunken hall. Walls canted inward like a broken lung. Stone sloped to the left. Pipes once fed into the ceiling. Most had crumbled or fused to slag. Berik stopped at the threshold, his breath caught not from fear but instinct. The wall ahead wasn't clean. It moved. Not fully. Not even subtly. Just once, the flicker of a shape set too far back in the stone to be natural. A body. Half submerged in the wall, fused from the waist down, arms slacked forward like someone mid-step when the stone swallowed them. Berik's grip shifted on the blade. Rina didn't hesitate. She stepped forward, feet slow, eyes wide now with calculation. Her glow pulsed stronger, first gold, then blue, then violet. Her left hand rose as she neared the shape. Not dead, she said, but not awake. Berik moved in beside her. The figure didn't breathe, didn't twitch, but heat radiated from its core. Sweat broke along Berik's neck the closer he stepped. Flesh had fused to stone, not molten, not broken, grown. Thin runes spread from the lower spine outward, inkless, but present. Grafted lines like stretched wire feeding into the wall. The torso leaned forward slightly, spine bent, arms limp. No face. Just smooth skin where eyes should have been. Berik's voice cut low. Another map thrall? Rina didn't answer right away. Her hand hovered near the figure's temple. Same structure, but incomplete. Berik narrowed his eyes. Half? Fused? No. Half built. She stepped closer. Her glow curled outward in tendrils, faint light branching like mist from the bones of her wrist. The glyphs along the wall flared stronger in response. Something in the chamber shifted. Heat surged from below. Then sound. A low whir like stones grinding over breath. A tone in staggered rhythm. Left, then right, then back. Rina stepped closer. The moment she reached toward the figure's brow, the room answered. Glyphs pulsed fast, chaotic. Walls flickered. Vibration rolled through the floor, not as one wave, but three, overlapping, each one different, out of sync, like a heartbeat with too many chambers. Berik stepped back, knife up. That's not one response. No, Rina said. She reached forward. Her hand met the figure's temple. The reaction was immediate. A blast of energy pushed outward, not forceful, just wide. A tether spark, not from her, but to her. It latched. Rina jerked. Her knees locked. Her eyes widened. The glow beneath her skin spiked, amber and blue coiling like frayed wire down her arms. She gasped. Once. Berik caught her elbow. Break it. Her voice cracked. It's not unified. The figure twitched. One shoulder only. The stone around its ribs flexed. Not breaking. Breathing. A pulse shivered through the wall. Rina stumbled. Berik caught her arm again. Rina, talk. It's arguing, she said. Her voice came strained, split like bad reception. Not with me, with itself. What does that mean? It's not one tether, it's three. Berik's grip tightened. You can sever it? No, she said. I can't find the root. They're overlapping, looping. The body in the wall spasmed, one finger twitching against the stone. Berik stepped forward, blade angled toward the base of the spine. What if we sever the conduit? Rina gritted her teeth. You sever the spine, we lose the relay, permanently. He didn't lower the blade. Rina's hand snapped upward, caught his wrist. Not yet. Berik paused. Rina's glow pulsed again, this time deep violet, flickering with the erratic rhythm of the wall. Her eyes dimmed, then sharpened. Her voice lowered to a whisper. They're not hostile, just confused, fragmented. Fragments of what? Berik asked. Her lips parted, then closed. A beat. Then, I don't know. The figure jerked again. The glyphs along its arms lit blue, harsh, jagged. The wall behind it rippled, not stone anymore, something thinner, membrane. Then sound. A voice. Staggered, broken. Not Rina, not the thrall. A layered whisper, male, female, child, none, overlaid in wrong cadence. Query, received, corruption present, tether, conflicted. Berik moved to Rina's side. We need to pull back. She nodded, then froze again. Her voice returned sharp. It's asking something. Can't parse. The figure spasmed. Arms lifted half an inch from the stone. The wall screamed, not with voice, but pressure. A deep drone vibrated through the floor. Berik's knee buckled. Then, stillness. Rina collapsed forward. Berik caught her before she hit the ground. Her pulse thudded erratic beneath his hand. Her breath came short. The wall was quiet again. The figure had gone still. Berik dragged her back from the edge, one arm hooked under hers. He propped her against the slope, eyes on the thing still buried in the wall. Rina gasped once. Her voice cracked out like torn cloth. It knew me, not the map, me. Berik said nothing. His eyes never left the wall. The glyphs pulsed again. Not like before. This time, they waited, as if listening, as if asking. He crouched beside her, checked her pupils. One flickered gold, the other stayed dim. She looked up at him, face pale. I don't think it was built for what it became. Berik adjusted her weight against the stone. You're saying it failed? I'm saying it refused. The wall shifted. Just slightly. Like breath between answers. Berik gripped his knife tighter and waited for the next question. The stone would ask again, and something deeper might answer. Meanwhile, Fenric sat with his back to the southern wall, crossbow laid across his knees. One hand drifted unconsciously to his pocket. He played with a copper wire. Just felt the weight of it, the shape. The stone ceiling above didn't breathe. The glyphs had dulled again, not dead, just sleeping, waiting for a reason. He hadn't moved since they'd gone below. Every few minutes he counted his bolts again, checked the cord tension, retied the same knot on his belt strap. His pack lay beside the broken dais. A tin of water sat uncapped. He hadn't touched it in an hour. Then came the sound. Not a footstep, not a word, just movement. A shift in the air, the faint shuffle of displaced grit. Something real, too steady to be wind, too quiet to be an echo. Uh, Fenric went still. He stayed crouched, listening. Again, that shift. Then something worse. The light. It flickered, not from the glyphs, from the wall. To his right, a line of faint illumination stretched across the surface, as if a hand had passed in front of a hidden torch. Then another. Then stillness. He turned toward the entry arch, slow as breath. Nothing. But he wasn't alone anymore. He drew the crossbow up, set the stock to his shoulder, but didn't rise. He watched the hallway. No shadow moved. No sound repeated. Then, voices. Low, rough, clipped speech in dry accents, the kind you heard from Sebastian Mercs and Southern Blades for Hire. Possibly local, but not familiar. You sure this is it? Another voice answered, firmer, flat. There was a signal from this site. A third voice, meeker, uncertain. Yes. The tether pulse registered. Marked activation. Faint but confirmed. Fenric tensed. His finger slipped to the trigger but didn't squeeze. He pushed off from the wall, boots dragging slow, quiet, crossbow low. He moved toward the vault's far corner, not toward the stairwell, but away from the entrance. The rear chamber wall bowed inward slightly near the base. A fractured support pillar sat half-crumbled beside it, casting the space in partial shadow. He ducked low, pressed himself into the dim recess, back against the cold stone. Another footstep, closer now. Then the crunch of grit under heavy weight. Fenric's pulse slowed, not from calm, from habit. Stillness was survival. A voice again, not the grunt, the first one, a larger man, command in his throat. This shouldn't be active. The vaults were buried for a reason. A pause. Then, could it have been a relay node? The subordinate answered, voice tight. Unclear. Too much interference. But the mark was clean. The pulse looped once before vanishing. Show me where. Footsteps again. Closer. Fenric clenched his jaw, shifted his shoulder slightly to angle the crossbow without drawing line of sight. He couldn't see them, but he could hear them moving now, toward the glyph wall. Toward the sealed stair. Echoes too thin. Any trace from the surface team? No, sir. But the sand above showed fresh disturbance. Then someone was here, recently. Fenric breathed through his teeth. Slow. Controlled. One boot braced lightly against the broken pillar. If they turned now, he'd be a shadow they hadn't counted on. The larger voice again. Closer still. If the seal's open, they went down. That's where we go next. What if it's already collapsed? Then we dig. More footsteps. Dust shifted under weight. Fenric didn't move, didn't twitch. The crossbow didn't waver. One wrong breath, and they'd hear him. But he stayed still, and listened. Down below, Berik stood with his back to the curve of the chamber wall, blade angled low. The thing in the stone hadn't moved again, but the resonance in the floor hadn't stopped either. The vibration was steady now, faint and deep, threading up through his heels and into his ribs like a low-frequency hum. Rina knelt beside the embedded figure. Her glow had stabilized, still violet along the arms, but narrowed, focused. She didn't touch it this time. She just watched. Berik shifted. We remove it, or destroy it. Her head tilted. Why? He didn't answer at first. He stepped forward, crouched by the figure's fused hip. The graft lines had grown deeper, not just surface tether. They fed into the wall, laced like roots, around a vein of buried conduit. He tapped one of the tendrils with his blade tip. No reaction. Then he spoke. If it activates, it finishes a process it doesn't understand. Or it calls something worse. Either way, we can't leave it. Rina stood. Not fast. Deliberate. No. Berik rose with her. Explain. She didn't blink. This is not a relay. It's a fragment route. Partial memory store. Codex. Yes, she said. The glyph pattern matches early Sebastian architecture. If I'm right, this isn't just a tethered form, it's a key. An original one. There may be structural memory embedded in the graft. Berik stepped back. His hand lowered slightly from the blade. How sure? 42%. Not enough. Rina didn't react. It's more than has been found in any other site. Berik's voice came sharper now. And if it wakes? If it pulls something back from whatever corrupted it? She turned her head slightly. Then we gain context. That's a risk, one we don't control. It's not a threat. You don't know that. Her arms lowered. The glow along her spine dimmed a notch, but her voice stayed level. You think in terms of danger, I think in terms of value. Berik's jaw shifted. You're thinking like a system. I am a system, her voice modulated, and so are you. For a breath they stared, not in anger, but locked at the edge of difference. She didn't blink. Neither did he. Then the wall answered. The figure spazzed. Both stepped back as the stone flexed. A ripple of pressure surged outward, invisible but real. Berik's knees buckled. His boot slipped on grit, and he hit the ground hard, shoulder first. His blade clattered beside him. Rina staggered, her balance broke again. She caught the wall to stay upright this time. A second pulse followed, not violent, spoken. The wall thrall's body convulsed, not full movement, just a crack of pressure behind the chest. Then sound spilled from its throat, not words, just tone, metallic, broken, layered. Then, a voice. Low, ancient, fragmented by translation lag and dead dialect. Shivaloran, Merit Vasa, he cannot be sealed again. The glyphs flared. Then, silence. Rina's head snapped toward the floor. Stone hissed. A seam split open beneath the figure, not cracked, but opened, by design. Two old plates pulled aside on silent gears, and a narrow stair descended into deeper dark. Berik was on his feet by then. Blade recovered. Blood ran down his forearm from a split at the elbow. He didn't look at it. He looked at her. Rina knelt at the edge of the new passage. Her glow pulsed slower now, less sharp, more reactive. Her fingers hovered near the first step. Berik said nothing. She looked back at him. It wasn't speaking to us. He wiped the blood with his sleeve. Then who was it speaking to? Her answer was quiet. Another part of the system. Something beneath. Berik approached, slow. His boots didn't echo on the stone. He looked down the stair. Glyph light flickered deep below, faint and strained, like old veins trying to pump blood through a dying body. He stood at her side. The nodes are still active, she said. Berik scanned the dark. For how long? She shook her head once. He glanced at the figure again, still fused in the wall, still quiet. He cannot be sealed again, he repeated, in a hushed tone. Rina nodded slowly. Something waiting for us, she said. No, Berik replied. Something is calling for us. The words settled. Two looked down into the stairwell, and then they descended further.